I'm Better Called Chad, and this is my new series, my garden series. I'm going to grow a garden, teach you how, and we're going to run lots of fun tests. And as you can see, this is actually the start area of my garden that I'm going to get all fixed up and growing. But we're going to have a lot of fun because I'm going to grow a lot of things, teach you how to grow them, and we're going to test a bunch of different products and see how things grew so we can know, hey, this is the best way to do this and that. We're going to test organics, humics, all kinds of things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now what I'm doing here is I'm mixing, because I'm going to spray that area first. I am using a chemical weed killer. It's not glyphosate, but it definitely is still a chemical. So I want to make sure I kill all those things down to the root, because some of those weeds have been growing for a long time and are very tall and very invasive. Now, what you're probably thinking is, well, isn't this going to affect your garden? Don't you want to grow things you want to eat? Yes. But you will see the way I do the garden, I'm going to have raised beds and tarps down. So the garden is never actually going to even be in this soil. This is just the area I wanted to prep. But a lot of these weeds can grow up back through, especially because they're so mature and in the time of year, the growing season. So I need to spray kill them first to make sure they're dead down to the roots. Okay, so now I do the potting. This takes a while. So what I do, I'm growing 5 different types of everything. I think besides corn, I had a few extra, so I'm doing like 8 corn. And in my next video, I'll let you know exactly everything that I am planting. So you will be able to see it all. And what I do here is I just put everything in rows, and I'm just going to plant. Now the things, some of these have big seeds and it's easy to plant one. I did that, but a lot of these seeds are so small, it's gonna be really hard to plant just one. So I planted a few, and once they start to germinate and grow, I'll pick them apart and plant how many I want. Now those are little labels there, so I have everything labeled. I know what it is. Unfortunately, I didn't have something good to water these small pots with, so I got a strainer from the kitchen and decided to use that, and it actually worked really well. But it's good to have something to hook up to the hose or something to water these without disturbing the soil too much, especially when they're fresh seeds. But this actually worked pretty well. And then because it settled and did disturb, I decided to top everything off with a little bit of soil to make sure the seeds weren't exposed and they were deep enough in, especially after it got watered and all that dirt settled down. All right, now it's time, just 2 weeks later, and you can see a lot of these weeds are nice and dead. They're enough where the roots are pretty damaged that I can get in there with a weed eater and clean this area up. And as you can see, there's already some tarp here. As I said, this was an old spot for a nursery, where there was plants held at the time for a nursery. So there's already some tarps and things down. So that's why I wanted to use this area. And I'm just gonna kind of build up on top of what was already there. then I wanted to blow out a bunch of the stuff in there because I didn't want to leave it under the tarp, and it kind of helped actually level it out a little bit. Some mulch piles, dirt piles, chunks, things like that. So, and cleaning up small debris, just kind of chunks of things everywhere. Then there was a few little piles of some stuff, so wanted to get a rake and kind of try to even it out as much as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. All right. Now what I do is I got 3 pretty large raised beds.
So got this, you saw this area before, it's a mess. So I got it all prepped. There was a nursery here, and as you see, it's become pretty uneven. And actually has some tarp underneath, which I'm gonna leave because I'm gonna lay some more down. But really, this seems like the most even part. So I think I'm gonna start here with more of my tarp. Now I have, so this seems like the most even part here, so I want to start there, but I'm not sure how much tarp I'm going to cover. And I got these raised beds. I'm not sure how much space they're actually going to need. I like to cover more of this and it leaves me more options, but I want to make sure I got enough room with tarp. So thinking about cut these bad boys open, see how see how large these things are gonna be. So I got just 2 copies of the exact same instruction.
All right, now I'm gonna show you me putting it together here. I'm just gonna show one. I'm not gonna make you suffer through all 3, but I did 3 of these because we're gonna do each plot. We're gonna do something different in them, and we're gonna test to see how the garden grew compared to using certain fertilizers, humics, organics, and things like that. So it's gonna be fun having the garden and running some tests to see what does best. But I know having raised beds is best, and so far I did like these beds. They are easy to put together, but they're extremely time consuming. There's just a ton of little bolts in there, and it takes like an hour and a half to build each one, which I feel like they're not that big and it shouldn't take that much time, but they do. But they are easy. The instructions suck, but they are easy to put together. It's just not quick putting them together. But like I said, I'm just gonna show you me building one of these things. All right, now I got to build to see the size. I'm rolling out the tarp here. Now, and early in the video I said I'm actually going to do the tarp first closer against the house because that's the most level. But as you can see, as the day goes on, that gets the most shade. And a lot of things I'm growing are full sun. It's good to know that, because if I have stuff that's going to be a little less, now I know I can put stuff against the house, but everything I have needs to be full sun. So I'm actually putting everything away from the house. It's the least level area, but that's really not the biggest deal. So it's not the end of the world, but that's why I ended up starting on this side, even though I said the other side would be better. All right, and at the end of this video, this is where we got with it. I'm going to build the other two off camera because there's no point of making you suffer through building those. And then next episode, we'll be putting dirt in and taking the plants from the small plants to the garden. And I'll let you know everything I'm growing. And then we're gonna have all kinds of fun tests, seeing what grows best and at what price. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you like this garden series. Like and subscribe.